Brazil, Brazil, Neymar win the World Cup. Guys, yes, welcome back to yet another World Cup podcast episode, guys. Today we got today is episode 2 of the World Cup, the pre-World Cup podcast. Guys, tomorrow, less than 1 day till the World Cup begins. Tomorrow we kick off with Ecuador versus Qatar, of course. For the kickoff, of course, Qatar being the host, they're going to be kicking off the World Cup with tomorrow's game against Ecuador, the kickoff game. We didn't manage to get a guest on the channel. I did say, I'm trying to get a guest on the channel for today's episode. We did not manage to get that for today, and the episode I'm talking about is, of course, this one 18 hours ago. We didn't manage to get a guest on, but guys, today we're going to be talking about a lot of football news. We got a few players. I want to talk about the players not going to the World Cup. Do I have the squad up for that? Yeah, I do over here. Of course, yet another World Cup prediction. Talk about the previous World Cups. Look at those as well. And then once again, just talk about this one more time. And then tomorrow the World Cup will be kicking off. And then I'll let you guys know when the podcast will be, when the next one will be. I have quite a bit of homework, and with the homework at school we're going to be getting as well. I'm hoping I can do it on Tuesday. I'm hoping I can do the next podcast episode. But as I said, there's still a lot of news. But I still want to do it. I don't want to wait too many days. Otherwise, there's going to be so many games to talk about. So I'm hoping Tuesday is the next podcast episode. But today, guys, I want to talk about. We're gonna go over a quick summary of the group stage. Just yet again, we're going to talk about the group stage again. But today's main focus I want to talk about is the knockout stages. I want to talk about the knockout stages, what teams are most likely to win the knockout stage games. And what I mean by that is, if we take a look at the past, it's the past 2 years, the past 2 World Cups, 2018 and 2014, it's always the left side that tends to win. So if you come from the left side, you tend to win. In this scenario, it would be these teams here. So a high likely team, a very, very favorited team to win this year is, of course, Brazil. You can see I'm wearing the Brazil jersey. And Brazil, most likely coming from the left side, a lot of people saying they're the winners. So we're going to talk about that. That's going to be the main focus of today. Guys, as I said, I am sick. Let me just blow my nose real quick. Yeah, so sorry about that. As I said, I'm still a bit sick, but I'm still out here grinding for you guys. But yeah, as I said, today's main focus, I want to talk about the knockout stages. So let's just get right into it, guys. So before we talk about the group stages, let's talk about the group stages and then talk about the teams. We have some info about the teams. Before we talk about the group stages, I want to talk about mainly there's some info. Benzema not going to the World Cup. We'll get to that after we get to the Group D of France. But I want to start off, before we talk about the group stages, I want to talk about the ballers not going to the World Cup. Because in my opinion, there's quite a few ballers not going to the World Cup. Of course, one being Benzema now, who's got injured. We had Nkunku, who got injured. No Perez now, Kimpembe, no Mike Mignon. And then other than those injured players who were called up, players who are just not going in general, these are players who are not called up. There's some ballers out here. Tammy Abraham, who's doing mid this season for Roma. He is a good player, but he's still been mid, but still quite surprising. He hasn't been called up. For me, one of the most surprises, Roberto Firmino, for France, Gosens, Diaby, Ben Yedder, Thiago for Spain, of course. Tomori, that was a huge one. Gravenberge, David De Gea for Spain, of course. That's also a huge one. We got Joaquin Correa from Inter Milan, got injured for Argentina. Now Angel Correa, who was actually surprised, who didn't get called up, now he's called up to the World Cup. There was one more player who I was gonna mention, but I forgot his name. Sorry, give me a moment once again. Sorry about that. But yeah, as I said, yeah, there's Verratti. Yeah, of course, there's the whole Italy team. What am I trying to say here? There's the whole Italy team. But it's just like in general, like there's quite a few ballers who I feel like are gonna be. It's gonna be very sad to see them not going to the World Cup, in my opinion. Ferland Mendy has to be one of them. Yeah, as I said, Firmino, Thiago. In this comments, you can see Gosens. Um, so yeah, in general, like yeah, overall it's gonna be, of course, there's Mohamed Salah. Yeah, recently we talked about this yesterday. Senegalese player Sadio Mane. Unfortunately, he had to do his surgery, and then that is not gonna let him play anymore. So that's gonna be sad to see. But yeah, there's a lot of players, and it's just very disappointing. And for me, it's gonna be like, I don't know. I think not just for me. I think Firmino, Tomori, Gosens, and Gravenberch. These four players not being called up are gonna be a huge disappointments for myself. And now on top of that, with the players who have been called up and now are being injured in training, Benzema and Kunku, my own like Paris Saint-Germain player, Perez Kimpembe, Mike Mignon, Sadio Mane, all these players being injured now, is going to be very sad to see them not going. So I just wanted to like note that to you guys out there. So it's going to be very sad. There's so many ballers, and I wanted to note that because of like this, like because of like how many players have been called up or now have been out of and now are being out of the World Cup. It's just very very sad to see like how disappointing this World Cup could be. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about each group. As I said, today's main focus, I want to talk about the knockout stages. So we start off with Group A. Now, when you look at this, you initially think, oh, Netherlands, Senegal go through, and then Ecuador, Qatar last. Now, to be fair, Qatar are a pretty decent team. I know I said, oh, I don't really know how they play and stuff. And yes, I still don't know how they play. They're very fast, for sure. I know that for sure. I've seen a few of their players. But I haven't seen a full game to really say, like, oh, they're a good team. What you could say is I think they beat Belgium 4-0, and then Belgium also, or they beat Egypt 4-0, and then Egypt beat Belgium or something like that, or they beat Belgium 2-1. Yeah, I think they beat Belgium 4-0, and then, or they beat Egypt 4-0, and then Egypt beat Belgium like 2-1 or something like that, and then I think Qatar also beat Belgium like 2-1, something like that. But like, I saw this crazy stat where Qatar like actually do pretty good against Belgium or Egypt, one of the two teams they actually did pretty good against. So Qatar like never dealt the hosts is what I'm trying to say here. So if we look at 2018, Russia, they made it to the semifinals against Croatia. They made it all the way to penalties, which was crazy, and that's pretty crazy. So I think like Qatar, you shouldn't doubt them, and same with Ecuador as well. And the reason like I'm starting to believe Qatar have a very very slim chance of going through, the reason I'm trying to say that is because of Senegal's team now. Koulibaly, who's fallen off at Chelsea, I have not seen anything from him. And then like Mane, no more Mane or anything. It's gonna be very very difficult for Senegal. I think it's not gonna be easy for them for second place. On the other hand, Netherlands should have a easier group. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I think now looking at like past games Qatar has had, they don't look like a bad team. But I think like teams should still watch out. And as I said, they're the host team. Host teams tend to do good, other than than this over here. They other than that, they tend to do good. They still made it to the semi-final, Brazil, but they did bad. But like what I'm trying to say here is like host teams tend to at least make it far. Like over here you had South Africa hosting the World Cup. Not really an African team. Maybe you can say Ghana. That's not South Africa, but it's still Africa. I guess they can represent Africa. Where was it in 2006? I think 02 is South Korea. Don't quite initially know where 06 was held in. Where was 2006? Germany. It was held in Germany, and they made it to the semis as well, and then lost to Italy. Of course, Italy went to win it on. But actually, let me just. Sorry about that yet again. But yeah, as I said, I think Qatar, when you take a look at past hosting countries, they tend to at least make it to the semifinals for sure, or the quarterfinals, I mean. They tend to at least make it to the quarterfinals. So what I'm trying to say here is don't sleep on Qatar. I think for now, I'm still going to say Netherlands, Senegal going to be topping their group. And Netherlands first. So really, it really matters who gets first. As you guys can see here, Netherlands will go through the left side. If Argent, now over here, if England, I think if Iran gets second here, whoever gets second in Group B will go on to versus the first group in Group A. So placement in group also matters a lot. Netherlands going to be topping it for me, and in second place, going to the right side of the table, I have to say Senegal, but it won't be easy for Senegal with not having players like Sadio Mane, very key player. So, and as I said, Qatar, looking at them, they have a pretty decent team. I think they still have a chance to at least do good as well. So that is that there for me for group A. We go to Group B now. So here we have, this is literally World War III, man. You cannot describe it any worse. England, USA, England, Iran, Iran, USA, and especially with like the current situations going on in Iran, this is gonna be crazier. So will Iran finally be able to make it out of the group stage? I still think that with the stuff going, with the events, with the current revolution going on in Iran, I think that's going to make it worse for the Iran national team. Now, personally, as an Iranian, it's going to be sad to say that. I think we have a strong team for sure. I've seen some people at our school, some Iranians at our school say like, oh, no, we have a very bad team. Not a bad team, but like I hate like the team because like they're not showing support. And like, yes, I think that's kind of a problem. Like, oh, you're not showing support with the people against the government. I think like they should say something. Yes, they might be like punished from the government, but still, I think they should still show some sign of support. But at the same time, politics should not be involved with the World Cup. To be fair, there is like in this Qatar World Cup, there's gonna be so many politics now. I think there's like, I heard this stat where like apparently they told like apparently Qatar paid like five players from the Ecuador team. They paid them $7 million to let Qatar score one goal in the first half. The opening goal, the host game, opening game, to let them score the first goal of the World Cup. Now, that's pretty sad to see that there's some bribery already happening. It's just sad. It's already sad. So as I said, where was I talking about? As I said, yeah, maybe like Iran will have some that will happen as well. But as I said, with the revolution going on, I think that's just gonna make it worse for the Iran national team. We have, on paper wise, if we're talking about player wise, I have to say Iran go through. And finally they'll make it through. But I said because of the fans, because of the revolution, what's going on, I feel like that's gonna just drain them down, and I think Iran is still gonna go to third place. So it's gonna be very sad to see that happening. So sorry about that yet again. But yeah, I think that is my Group B right there for you guys. Now Group C, I think it's undoubtedly obvious that Argentina will top it. Now it's gonna be tough here with Poland and Mexico, because I think Mexico, yes, they have, like, if you compare them to teams like in the previous year, if you compare them, Mexico back to 2014, back to 2010, back to 2018 even, they were a way stronger team. And this year it's just many of their players have fell off. Chicharito, is not going to it either. So I feel like there's some players that there's like 2 or 3 strong players who could have been called up who haven't been called up. Um, so that for that reason, I think even Poland, if you take a look at Lewandowski, Frankowski, all these players, like especially Lewandowski, he always shows up for Poland, and I think that's just gonna help them a lot, especially with the group they're in. As I said, Mexico not being as strong, and Argentina, even with not having Lo Celso anymore, no Joaquin Correa, but they do have Angel Correa and stuff. I still think they're gonna be topping the group for sure. Now over here, we talked about this with Gareth, saying that Denmark, France, Austria, and Tunisia, and it's starting to look more like this is likely. If in the past, if they still had Nkunku and Benzema, this is a very slim chance that France gets second. But now that Nkunku is gone, now that they don't have Mike Mignon, no Presnel Kimpembe, no Karim Benzema, he's been injured in training, so that's going to be very sad. The first reigning of a Ballon d'Or winner to not play in the World Cup since 1978. So that means like the first World Cup winner, or the first Ballon d'Or winner to not play in the next in the World Cup. So in 1978, whoever won the World Cup or whoever won the Ballon d'Or must have not played at the World Cup, and since then it hasn't happened until now. So that's going to be very sad to see. But yeah, as I said, I think that now that France have lost a lot of their players, this is most likely to happen, and because of this, we're going to be seeing Argentina, France in the round of 16, and we'll talk about that after. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this. Denmark have a very strong team. Do not sleep on Denmark is what I'm trying to say here. Do not sleep on Denmark. Now, Group E, I'm going to stick with Germany at the top, and I think one of the flops this World Cup is going to be, I think one of the flops has to be going to Japan or to Spain. I think one of the surprises is going to actually be Japan and Denmark for sure. I feel like Denmark also going to be a very surprising team at the World Cup. Same with Canada, maybe Serbia as well. But yeah, for me, guys, I think Spain are going to get knocked out. I think Japan are going to go through, and then Spain getting third. And I think Japan did actually. Okay, I don't know. They didn't do good, but like they tend to knock out big teams in like, I don't know. You get what I mean? Like Japan, they have a strong team is what I'm trying to say. Is they have a strong team for sure. And going back to what I said like with Gareth, I know Gareth didn't really say, yes, like Spain have a strong team, like they're really like good together, but they don't have a team that like for me, the player wise, they have too many old players, which means like, oh, they're too old, they're not going to be able to last the whole game. And then they have too many young players. So yes, they're able to last the full game. They're just not experienced. So for that reason, I'm going to say Japan go through. It's a wild shout, but it's going to happen for sure. Now, over here, I'm going to be saying Croatia first and actually Canada second. I think for me, the flop of this year is going to be Belgium. Yes, Spain go out, but I think Belgium are also going to be a flop. So yeah, I think Canada, guys, don't sleep on Canada for sure. Canada have a very strong team. Now, the only thing that makes me want to say Belgium go through instead is you got to keep in mind this World Cup is based in Qatar. One, there's bribery going through. They're going to want like Belgium maybe going through instead of Canada for more viewership. And secondly is you got to keep in mind the weather as well. The reason teams like Argentina, the reason teams like South American teams like Argentina and Brazil are favorites to win the World Cup is because since it's in a very hot country like Qatar, Argentina, like teams like South American teams are going to be used to that. A team like Canada in negative 20 degrees Celsius weather is not going to be used to 70 degree Fahrenheit weather. So you got to see or Celsius weather, whatever the weather thing is there. They're not used to that. So you got to keep in mind that like, oh yes, Canada, they have a strong team. I'd say like on paper wise, like just not even on paper, not even like if you say the names, I'd say, or maybe on paper wise Belgium go through, but I say team wise as a team, Canada win and Belgium second. But then on top of that, the thing that will make Canada lose is the weather, of course. So you got to keep in mind a lot of this stuff, the bribery, the players, of course, and then of course the weather is a huge impact, and that is two of the reasons that's like the weather is one of the huge reasons why people are saying teams like Brazil and Argentina will win, is because like in Brazil back in 2014, Brazil won it, or Brazil hosted it. It was challenging for other teams. Yes, Germany knocked them out and stuff, but it's still a very hot country there. You saw like what's it called back here in 2010 in South America, Uruguay, of course, they're going to be going through because they're a South American, they're a warm country. Brazil going to the quarterfinals. Paraguay, you saw Paraguay going through because they're a South American team. Is because it's hot in South America, and same in South Africa as well, and now in Qatar it's going to be even hotter. But at least teams like Argentina and Brazil will be used to that. That's why they're most likely to win the World Cup. So yeah, for Canada, it's going to be the opposite. Yes, I'm saying Canada go through, but a factor that may make them still go out is, I'm not going to say they're out because they're bad. I'm going to say they're out because of the weather factor. So for now, I'm going to say Canada go through. But keep in mind, the weather factor is huge. The bribery, the weather factor, all of this is huge. So yeah, that is that for Group F. Now we go on to Group G, guys, where I'm going to put Brazil first, of course. Serbia second, Switzerland and Cameroon fourth. I think Serbia have a very strong team. Yes, Switzerland also have a strong team as well, but it's going to be a fight for second. I think I'm going to keep Serbia second for sure. And then over here, I'm going to put Portugal, Uruguay, Ghana, and then South Korea last. Yeah, I think Uruguay will be a team that's going to be succeeding in the World Cup for sure. But yeah, that, as I said, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on the group stage. So this is my group stage for sure. Logically, it makes sense as well. It makes sense. So it just, when it comes to the round of 16 is where it gets difficult to make decisions. So let's take a look here, guys. Let us take a look at this round of 16. Now, when you take a look at this round of 16, guys, yeah, I just want to show you guys, this is crazy. Imagine, so this is a picture, both Messi and Portugal, Messi and Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo both posted this on their Instagram as well, Instagram accounts as well. And it's very interesting. A lot of people saying, oh, this is going to be the final. In here in the suitcase is the World Cup trophy. Apparently the game is supposed to be a mimic of a famous chess game in the past, where it was actually a draw as well. So they're saying like, oh, it's the equal, the last chance. So it's very iconic to see this photo. But going back, yeah, this round of 16 is going to be very, very difficult. Logically, I think these group stages make sense. Now, when it comes to making a decision of who goes through in the round of 16, this is where it's going to be a very difficult decision to make. Now, what is I going to say? Yeah, so when you take a look in the past, it tends to be the people on the left side winning. So let's say Netherlands, Germany, Argentina, and Brazil. This left side, man, is deadly, man. This left side is deadly, man. This, like, what I mean by deadly is, when you take a look at this left side, it's such a more challenging route than this right side over here. And I think these are most likely, I'm gonna go through like my decisions here, why I chose these teams, but like when you take a look at this left side, it's so deadly. And talking once again about this left side, who, like, let's say Brazil win here, Brazil go to the final, Brazil, and then like, I don't know, England, Brazil. Let's say this happens. Okay, I'm gonna reset this. But let's say that was to happen. It's because Brazil was on the left side, they're most likely to win. That's what I mean by like, oh, the left sides are the winners of the World Cup. But let me just set this yet again. Switch this here. But so if you take a look at 2018, France coming from the left side, beating Argentina, beating Uruguay, beating Brazil or Belgium, and then beating Croatia in the final. They came from the left side and won it. You got Yeah, Germany coming from the left side, and they go ahead to win it as well. Over here, you have Spain, who came from the right side. Um, yeah, they came from the right side. Over here, Italy from the left side, they went on to win it. Brazil from the right side. It tends to be the left side though. We don't talk about 98 and stuff. The only reason I have this 98 stuff, like the 98, the '02 World Cup, yes, it's from the right side, and I'm trying to prove it's from the left side. The winners are from the left side. But the reason I have this open is now what we see here is, do France even make it out of the group stage? Injuries. They have injuries now. No Benzema, no Mike Mignon, no Christopher Nkunku. Um, so yeah, they have a lot of players injured, and if we take a look, actually, give me a second, real quick. If we take a look at the past, guys, we have the World Cup curse. So what the World Cup curse is over here. It usually tends to be European teams only. So in 1998, France wins the World Cup. In 2002, they get knocked out in the group stage in the group stages. And then in 2006, Italy go on to win the World Cup. Or in 2002, it was Brazil. But as I said, it's a European team, so Brazil still went on to make it through. In 2006, Italy go on to win the World Cup. In 2010, they get knocked out in the group stages. Spain win the World Cup, knocked out in the group stages. Germany win the World Cup, knocked out in the group stages. And now France, with all these injuries as well, they could be knocked out of the group stages. So it's it's the curse. It's the World Cup curse for a reason. I think France still have a strong team. Now, to be fair, the reason you could say it's the World Cup curse is, yes, it's a curse and stuff, but you also, like, it's also kind of a contradictory, because like a lot of these players were also old as well. Zinedine Zidane, he was kind of older as well. Like when you take a look mainly at the, like, what happened, like, okay, in 2002 when Brazil won, why didn't they win it in 2006? Is because, like, many of the players, they were a bit older, as well as many of them had already won 2 World Cups. They won one in 1990, in '94, when in the 1994 World Cup. Brazil had won it back then. Many players like Cafu, Lucio, Roberto Carlos. I think Cafu played in the '94. R9. I don't think Ronaldinho, but then they go on to win it again in 2002. Why do they need another one in 2006? Why didn't they win it again in 2006? It's because they already won it in 2002. That was their, for most of them, that was their second one. It was near the end of their career. They had already won, like for Ronaldinho, in his instance, he already won the Champions League, the '02 World Cup, and the Ballon d'Or. Why does he need another one in 2006? So it's like the hunger was lost for Brazil in 2006. On for Italy's side, it is, you could say it's kind of the same thing. No Vieri, no Cannavaro, no Maldini, and they had already won it in 2006 as well. It's still disappointing that they didn't make it through, but it's like most of these players were old and they already had won it. So when you're old, like, what's there still the point of trying? Maybe if you're young, you can still try again. For instance, Mbappe, he can still try again to win it again. He won it at 18 and 19 years old. He can try to win it again this year because he's still young. But for these players, they had already won it and they were old. So since they were old, the factor of trying to win again was like pretty low. So that was that. Same for Spain as well. A lot of their players, they won in 2010. They won Euros in they won the Euros in '08. They won the World Cup in 2010. Went on to win the Euros yet again in 2012. So they won they did a back to back to back. And then they were just tired. A lot of their players were old. No Xavi, no Iniesta. A lot of them were older. No Pep Guardiola, of course. I mean, he was never there. No Puyol, no Casillas. These guys were all retired and older. So then in 2014, there was like no one to really try, and they got knocked out of the group stages. If we take a look back here in 2014, same with Germany. No Lahm, no Schweinsteiger. So it's like the same instance here. They got knocked out here. So with France as well, there's no Conte, no Pogba, no Benzema, no Nkunku, no Mike Mignon, no Kimpembe. So it's still likely that the curse happens, and with all these injuries, it's looking more likely like it very could happen. But I think for now, I'm still gonna put France second. But I just wanted to note that as well. And as I said, yeah, it most likely the winners are from the left side. So now let's actually talk about these knockout stages. So we start off Netherlands, Wales. Yes, Netherlands have a good or Wales have a good team, but I think like whoever you put here, you put USA, you put Iran. I think Netherlands still win it for sure. Now this is where all the craziness happens. Actually, let me just do something real quick. Sorry about that, but yeah, this is the crazy, guys. Argentina and France in the first knockout stage. In the first knockout stage is crazy. Now, it's gonna be crazy to see. I think no matter what, if France make it through, if Argentina make it through, eventually one of these teams, because of Brazil beating Uruguay, in my opinion, Brazil will most likely, if Germany win here, Brazil win here, Argentina or France, I think they beat Netherlands, they're gonna have to fight Brazil, and I think they still lose. It's just a matter of who will get to the semifinals to lose to Argentina. Is it gonna be, or to lose against Brazil? Is it gonna be Argentina or France? So I think, as I said, France with all these injuries, they have the curse as well. I think Argentina. Yeah, this is 2018 as well. They met in the round of 16, so that's gonna be interesting as well to see this happen yet again. I think Argentina will get their revenge though. Di Maria, Lionel Messi at his last World Cup. I don't think Mbappe is gonna have less motivation, especially with his teammates being all young and stuff. So, in my opinion, Argentina beating France here. England, Senegal, I think this is easy for England. Denmark, Poland, I think this is easy for Denmark. Germany, Canada, I think as I said, for Canada, it's going to be difficult to go through. Even if Belgium or Morocco, it's still going to be Germany. But for Canada to make it out of the group stage, that is a victory in itself. But unfortunately, it's going to have to end here for me. Brazil, Uruguay, this is going to be a crazy game. Now, imagine Uruguay beat Brazil. Holy, if this actually happens, Argentina will have a chance to win the World Cup for sure. I think, but because Brazil, for me, Brazil win. If Argentina and Brazil meet over here, it's most likely Argentina will lose. But if Uruguay do somehow like win it, that's gonna be crazy, man. If Uruguay okay, there we go. But yeah, if Uruguay somehow win this game, that is crazy, man. I'm actually I'm actually very surprised to see Uruguay. Not surprised. I'm very excited to see Uruguay play. I'm excited to see Bentancur, Fede Valverde, of course, Darwin Nunez, Valverde, Araujo. I'm excited to see these players for Uruguay play. And against this Brazil team, it's going to be crazy game. Croatia, Japan. I think Croatia. Yes, Japan have a passion team, but you have to say Croatia. And then Portugal, Serbia. I have to say Portugal for me. Now, I don't want to just talk about the group stage winners and stuff, like who's gonna win in the group stage. I also want to talk about the players as well. So let's take a look at the Netherlands. Now when we get to this quarterfinal, it's gonna be very tough. Now when you take a look at it, this left side, man, whoever is on this left side, I feel very bad because you're gonna have a challenging time. This right side has it so easy, man. They have it so easy. So if we take a team if we take a look at a team like Holland. Not Holland, like the Dutch team, Holland. They have a pretty decent team. They have maybe not the best keepers, but I think for me, where they shine the most is definitely their defenders. Yeah, Nathan Ake, Virgil van Dijk, Matthijs de Ligt. I think it's Justin Timber, Justin Timber, De Vrij. Malasia, of course, from Man United, the youngster, he's doing really good. Blind from Ajax, Frimpong, He's doing really good at Leverkusen this season, and then Dumfries as well. And that's what's really like shouts out to me the most is their back line. Now I talked about their midfield. Is the most of this midfield I feel like is more of an attacking player. You got Xavi Simons and stuff. I think they have more of an attacking team um rather than like a like an actual box to box midfielders. Frankie De Jong, he's attacking. As I said, Xavi Simons, and then in the attack they got Bergwijn, Gakpo, Depay, Luka De Jong, Weghorst. So they have players for sure. I'm not saying they're bad. They have some players out there. They have some really good players, but I think uh what was I gonna say? Yeah, no Gravenberch. I think that's a huge thing in the midfield. Imagine Frankie De Jong, Gravenberch in the midfield, Berghaus. Those three midfielders would be crazy for the Dutch. Um, but for me, it's really in the attack where it loses, where I get where they lose me. When you take a look at a team like Argentina, Emilio Martinez in that back line, you got Montiel, Acuna, Tagliafico in the two center back duo, Lisandro Martinez, Otamendi, Romero from Spurs. In the midfield, you got De Paul, um, De Paul, um, what's his name? Gomez, Papu Gomez, Alejandro Gomez, De Paul, Paredes, no Lo Celso. In the attack, of course, Messi, Dybala, Lautaro Martinez, no Joaquin Correa, but Angel Correa, Di Maria, Gonzalez, Alvarez as well. So this Argentina team screams passion everywhere, team passion as well, not just solo passion. It's like they're so together. Same with the Dutch team. It's like they're very good. They work very well together. For me, as I said, the only problem with the Dutch team is the midfield and the forwards. For this team, maybe like they're good in the back line. They have some decent defenders in the back line. Lisandro Martinez, Acuna, Tagliafico, Otamendi, Romero, Montiel. They have a stacked forward, of course. And in the midfield, it's 50-50. But it's the passion that matters for me from this Argentinian team. I think it's like, what is it, 32, 37 games undefeated as well. So it's like the passion they have is just crazy. So that's why I think they win this game for sure. Germany, Brazil. Now we've seen this in the past, of course. In 2014, Brazil getting knocked out 7-1 in their home country as well. So that's just sad. That's just very very sad to see. Is to see Brazil like getting knocked out in their home country. We see this game yet again, Germany versus Brazil. If we take a look at this Brazil team now, as I said, it's hosted in Qatar, so it's a hot country for these South American teams. Though it shouldn't be that bad for them because they're also used to the hot weather climates changes as well. So for me, I think Brazil go on to win. The problem I have with Germany is, yet again, I think their attack is they don't really have a lethal striker. They have some good finishers. They have some good attackers. They don't have a striker. They have Muller, Adeyemi, Serge Gnabry, Leroy Sané, Gundogan, Musiala, Kai Havertz, Julian Brandes, Joshua Kimmich. But as I said, I think for me, they don't have a finisher. These guys they're good in the attack. They don't have a finisher. They don't have a good finisher. Now it's the same with the Brazil team. I think this Brazil team is brilliant. They have the best keeper I think in this whole tournament. I have to give it to Alisson. He is a really good goalkeeper. The only questionable parts are the fullbacks. You could do Eder Militao as like a right back, but I think for me, Marquinhos is a bit of a fraud. But I think when it comes to Brazil, Marquinhos and Thiago Silva, that duo partnership is just the best in the back line. In the midfield, you got that Bruno Guimaraes guy, Fred, Fabinho, Casemiro, Lucas Paqueta, and then of course in the attack you have many options: Neymar Zito, Vinicius Jr., Gabriel Jesus, who's only scored like 1 goal since 2019, which was in the Euros. That's quite sad. So I don't know how much of an impact Gabriel Jesus will be. I think Richarlison will be the main striker for Brazil for sure. I don't think Gabriel Jesus will be starting. So I think Richarlison will be the main striker, and in my opinion, he's pretty decent. He's gonna be a decent striker. I don't know how. Statistically for Brazil, he's better as well. But how well will he be? Like, he's doing pretty mid. I don't know how he's doing for Spurs, because I think Kane is the main player for Spurs. That's why I'm not quite sure how well he is doing right now. But when he plays for Brazil, he does really good. So the Brazil legend, the Brazil player, Richarlison, will be the main striker, in my opinion. And as I said, yeah, they have more of a lethal striker than Germany do. So in my opinion, Brazil are the stronger team here. Now, England, don't sleep on England, man. I think England will somehow make it through. I think for sure England will somehow make it through. If we take a look at this England team, Pickford, Pope, I think Ramsdale. The only like problem, yeah, I think Trent should be good. Trippier, I don't mind him as well. Walker, no Tomori, which I think is huge. I think that's gonna be huge. But I think, like, if imagine you had Tomori and John Stones, I think that would. I think for me, if they had like Trippier right back, Kyle Walker and like if they had like Kyle Walker left back, and then Luke Shaw and if they had Luke Shaw and like and what's his name and Tomori as at center backs, that would have been a very very nice. But I think not having Tomori is huge. But I think they have still a really good team. I really I'm not trying to joke here. I'm not trying to say a joke here. I'm being serious. I think England have a strong team and I think they have a very good opportunity to actually make it to the final. They have Harry Kane, Rashford, Harry Kane, of course, the last World Cup top scorer. Rashford, Saka, Phil Foden, Sterling, Grealish. I really think they have a strong team in the midfield. Declan Rice, Mason Money Mount, of course, Henderson, Jude Bellingham. So in my opinion, I think England will do good. Now Croatia, of course, last World Cup winners or finalists, losing to France, of course. But I've got to say Portugal here, and I think Portugal. I think they're gonna get knocked out by England. In my opinion, I don't think Portugal have. In my opinion, the thing that makes this Portugal team like worse is Ronaldo, man. I have to say it. I have to say it, guys. I think Ronaldo makes this team worse, and I think mentally Ronaldo is the strongest, but and yes, he said, "Oh, I'm ready and stuff. I'm strong. I'm ready. I'm here to win." But in my opinion, I think like I don't know. I think there's better options. Like you got Rafael Leao. Like if you're playing a 4-4-2, Rafael Leao and João Felix is my attack for sure. Vitinha, Otavia, Nunez, Palhinha, what's his name? Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes. So I think like I don't know. I think no hate against Ronaldo. Ronaldo's still gonna be a brilliant player, but I think personally, I think there's better options like Rafael Leao and João Felix. If you're running a one striker formation, I'd have to choose João Felix or Rafael Leao over Cristiano Ronaldo, in my opinion. No hate against Ronaldo, as I said, but I think the thing that makes this Portugal team worse is Ronaldo, and that's because he's old, man. He needs to realize he's old. He's not finished, but like he doesn't have the capability anymore. He doesn't have the capability. I think England have a very good spread of still having players that are able to still play at top level. For Portugal, there's some players who are getting older and maybe not have the capability. So for me, England beats Portugal here. Portugal still make it through all the way to the semifinals, but they will be knocked out. Brazil win it here, I think. Yeah, yes, I know Argentina. I want Argentina to win. I want Messi to win. But Brazil, as I said, it's always the team from the left side. And then I think for me, it's just going to be Brazil. Download wall chart. Ooh, you can download. Bro, it didn't even save it, man. Why didn't it even save it? What the heck? Are you supposed to type it in? You might have to type it in. Oh my, imagine we do these like scoreline predictors and stuff. I don't know why it doesn't let you like type it in. Why is it like telling me to not type it in? Oh yeah, maybe you do have to type it in. At least it could have like done the predictions here, and then I have to guess the scores down here. But ooh, maybe I'll print one of these for myself. But yeah, going back here, yeah, I think for me, I think either like any route you say, Brazil win. If Brazil gets second in their group, then Brazil, they beat Portugal for sure. Brazil over here, Brazil. So what would it be? It would be Serbia, Uruguay. I think Uruguay, Germany here, Argentina, and Brazil still go on to win it. So no matter what, I think Brazil will go on to win it for me. It's just the fact that this left side is so much like, look how much easier this right side is, man. This right side have it so much easier than this left side here. From this left side, you got like Netherlands, Germany, Uruguay, France. This right side have it so much easier with Japan, Senegal, Poland, Denmark, Serbia. Like they have it so much easier. So I'm very sad to see these teams on the left side. But yeah, this World Cup episode is a bit shorter, but yeah, as I said, yeah, we took a look at the last World Cups. Don't sleep on Qatar though. As I said, the hosts always do pretty decent. Russia, but also keep in mind, like, I'm gonna be very sad because this World Cup is gonna have so much bribery in it that it's just gonna be so sad. It's gonna be so sad how much bribery is gonna be in it. Guys, the World Cup starts tomorrow, 8 a.m. The first game kicks off. The host, Qatar, play Ecuador. England, Iran. This is gonna be a huge political game of like what are Iran gonna do? Are they gonna show a sign of respect towards the revolution and stuff? So this game is gonna be crazy to watch. Same with this game here. These two games are the ones that I'm gonna be watching for sure. At least the highlights, but I'm hoping I can get up and watch this England-Iran game at 5 a.m. And then yeah, I think we'll come back on Tuesday. So we'll come back on Tuesday, talk about the games on Tuesday. Yeah, I think going to this far is too many games. Although, do we want to talk about like Mexico, Poland, Denmark, Tunisia? I don't know if we'll talk about like every game either, but I think still I want to. Sorry, I just had to cough. But yeah, I think I still want to talk about like each game, like at least look at them through. Maybe I'll do it Wednesday. Maybe I'll do it until Wednesday. Just keep an eye out on the Instagram for sure. But yeah, I think that's gonna end off the episode, guys. I wanted to talk about the group stage more in depth and my thoughts on it and the teams. Like usual, let's end it off with a photo like usual we talked about today. Who did we talk about? Brazil. We talked about France. Let's talk about Benzema. Okay, not France. Not a center forward, not La Liga either. Let's talk about Richarlison. We talked about Richarlison being the main striker. Not Richarlison. We talked about Lionel Messi winning the World Cup. Could that be possibility? Ooh, right wing Argentinian Di Maria. Di Maria. Di Maria. Di Maria. He's a World Cup legend as well. I don't know. What am I singing? What am I singing, guys? Yeah, he's a World Cup legend. See, it fits today's topic as well. But yeah, today's episode has come to an end. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this knockout stage mainly. I think logically it made these group stages make sense. This knockout stage is gonna be one of the craziest. And as I said, like usual, there's no favorites here. To be fair, there's no favorites. It's just logically on paper, it makes sense that Brazil win. It just makes sense Brazil win. But yeah, that's gonna end off today's episode. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. As I said, next episode will most likely be on Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully Tuesday, but keep an eye out on the main Instagram, my personal Instagram channel, and the FIFA Flow podcast channel on Instagram. Both links down below. Or you guys can go check out here. If you guys don't want the links, you guys can just go here, click the Instagram, and it will take you here. But yeah, for now, Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you guys enjoyed today's video. Stay positive, stay happy, stay flow, and I'll see you later. Peace.